Good evening. As you may have noticed, I am not Laura. Laura contacted me late this afternoon, said she threw out her back, and asked me to fill in. So I finished what I was doing, went to the gym, took a shower, and here I am. I haven't actually prepared anything. Um, but what I thought I would talk about tonight is my experience on the retreat that I went to a couple of weeks ago. I'm 14 days back from a week-long silent meditation retreat at the Insight Retreat Center in California with Gil Fonsdale and some other teachers. And it was a deep dive, and I thought I would share that with you. So, we will begin as usual. Can you all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, because I've been having some technical issues on my end, so. I worked in Silicon Valley for 25 years, and the takeaway is sometimes this stuff works. They don't tell you that when they're hitting you up for $700 at the Apple store, but. So, I invite you to begin by finding a meditation posture. A meditation posture, a good meditation posture, ideally, if you are in a position to do it, your hips are slightly above your knees, which makes your back roll forward just a little bit. If you can't do that, that's fine. Keeping your back straight, but not like rigid. Relaxed and alert. A good meditation posture is one in which you can be relaxed and alert at the same time. And if you have like a little string, like right here at the crown of your head, and you pulled it up without stressing or straining the muscles in the back of your neck, and you tugged it up gently, that would straighten the top of your spinal column and your neck, and it would tuck in your chin just a little bit. And we're going to sit for about 30. So I invite you to find a comfortable posture. And gently close your eyes. And let's start with a few slow, deep breaths into the belly. About 3/4. And a long, slow, maybe a little longer than usual exhale without stressing or forcing. And let your attention ride the whole length of the breath from the bottom of the exhale to the top of the inhale. Long, slow, deep breath. And as you breathe out, just begin the process of relaxing and softening, letting go of any energy you might be holding to whatever degree you can. Breathing out and relaxing the muscles in your face. They do a lot of work. Just letting your eyes relax back in their sockets. Long, slow, deep breath in, and as you exhale, just relax your shoulders to whatever degree you can. On the in-breath, noticing where you may be holding any tension or holding in your body. On the out-breath, if you can let go of it, then let go of it. If you can't, just be aware of it with the mind of I see you lovingly. Letting your breath return to normal. Continuing on the in-breath to notice where you're still holding any tension or tightness. You scan down your body. Release it to the degree you can, or just, I see you, lovingly. Just loving awareness of your body, the sensations of the body breathing in and out. And I invite you to notice the touch points, the sensation of your feet or your legs touching the floor. Just breathing out, I see you. Noticing the sensations of your hands in your lap. Just the present moment tactile experience of your hands. What that feels like on your legs, what that feels like on your hands. Noticing the sensations in your buttocks as gravity gently pulls you into the chair or the cushion or the floor. Sensation of on your back, whatever you may or may not be leaning against. Breathing in, breathing out. Noticing the ambient temperature and feel of the room, how that feels on your skin. Just noticing. Just breathing in with a message to your body and your psyche: I see you, and it's all good. Now let your attention come to and rest on the sensations of the body breathing. However that works for you. You can focus on the sensations of the air moving in and out of your nose. You can focus on your chest or your belly moving in and out. Or on just the overall global sensations of the body breathing. Just noticing the full length of the in-breath and noticing the full length of the out-breath. Not trying to control your breathing, not trying to breathe deeper or slower or faster. Just noticing the sensations of the body breathing in and out. When your mind wanders off in thought, which of course it will, it's supposed to, you may notice right away, you may not, maybe some time will go by. When you notice, without getting caught up in the story or the object of the thought stream. You might just say, I see you, to that part of the psyche, gently without judgment. And return your attention to your breathing. thoughts arise, feelings arise. Thoughts provoke feelings. It's all good. If you have any difficult feelings, just say, I see you. Obsessive thoughts, I see you. And gently return your attention and focused to the sensations of the body breathing. And as we come towards the end of this sitting, I invite you to see your experience of this meditation, whatever that experience is, with kindness. Bow to your experience and say, I see you. No judgment. And may it be that the benefits of this practice help us be peaceful enough and settled enough to view the world through the eyes of compassion and kindness. May it be that the benefits of this practice allow us to walk through the world and spread that energy, kindness, compassion, acceptance to ourselves, to the people in our households, to the people we know, to the people we've met, to our acquaintances and the people we just happen to encounter. Spread the energy of kindness and compassion into our homes and towns and neighborhoods and cities and the world around us. May the benefits of this practice be of benefit to all beings everywhere. May all beings be happy. May all beings be well. May all beings be safe. May all beings be at ease and at peace. Thank you for your practice. So, at the beginning of this month, I flew to California to do a week-long silent meditation retreat with Gil Fonsdale and some other teachers at the Insight Retreat Center in Scotts Valley, California. Beautiful out there. I love these retreat centers because they're out in the middle of the woods. And this followed last year when I did a two-week retreat at the same location. And they seem to me to sort of have built on each other. Now, the first thing that happens when you go on retreat, you turn off all the noise on the outside world. And all the noise on the inside world gets louder. your mind gets really jumpy and is like looking around for things to grasp onto, because the mind is always looking around for things to grasp onto. And whatever tension you've been holding in your body, whatever aches or stuff is like right below the surface, all that comes up because you start letting go of all that energy. First couple of days are usually some version of, what am I doing here? The next few days are usually some version of, oh, this is cool, but I'd like to go home. And the last couple of days are usually some version of, I could do this for another 2 weeks. I came home anyway. And there were some takeaways from this last couple of retreats. One of the best things I ever heard at a retreat was when Gil said, naps are poor man's nirvana. So we all encourage naps. But the big takeaway for me starts with what I consider to be Buddha's first teaching. It's generally considered that Buddha's first teaching was the first turning of the Dharma wheel, after he had awakened and he went back and encountered some monks that he had sat with before. And the first teaching is considered to be the teaching of the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path. The Four Noble Truths being dukkha, that life is uncomfortable. The best explanation I've heard of dukkha is, I saw a monk recently on YouTube who said the literal translation of dukkha from Pali is the wheel is loose on the cart. We're out of balance. And the beauty of the teaching of dukkha is we live in a culture where we're encouraged to reject our difficult experience. When we encounter anxiety, depression, grief, difficulty, whatever, our first impulse, as often as not, is to say, go away. I don't want it. When my grandson was 2 and something happened that he didn't like, he'd go, don't want it, just like that. So I refer to that as channeling my inner 2-year-old. Don't want it. And the second noble truth is letting go of that we suffer because we're attached to needing it to be different. The third noble truth is that we can be liberated by letting go of that attachment. The fourth noble truth is the Eightfold Path. But I think that there was a really important teaching before that. The very first teaching. Buddha sat under the Bodhi tree in what is now Bodh Gaya, India, for I can't remember how many days. He was right at the verge of awakening. And Mara, the god of illusion, who really is, Mara represents our shadow in the Jungian sense, our darkness, the parts of us that we don't want to look at. Mara came and was intent on stopping the awakening because the god of illusion does not want an awakened soul walking around. And through everything he, she, or it, depending on whose imagery you're looking at, and for 3 days, through everything possible, at the monk Gautama, who is not named Buddha yet. The children named him Buddha, by the way. I always like that part of the story. And Buddha sat completely still and was impervious to all of it. And at the end, Mara had run out of weapons and tools, just run out of gas, and decided to throw his most powerful weapon at the monk sitting under the tree. Self-doubt. He said, what makes you think you are someone who can awaken with all these like qualities and struggles and stuff. And Buddha did something really interesting. He opened his eyes in that moment and he saw Mara, his own darkness, his own doubts. And he said, I see you, Mara. Let's have tea. And he was awakened right in that moment. The moment, my takeaway from that is the moment Buddha was finally able to look completely at his whole self, foibles and all, with complete and total acceptance and invitation. That was the awakening right there, that moment. I see you. There are various depictions of Mara. And anybody here ever see the movie Little Buddha? It's definitely worth missing. Keanu Reeves plays Buddha. And in that scene, he opens his eyes after having all of these visions from Mara and looks right at this hairy, grubby little man sitting naked in front of him. And I think it should have been his mirror image. He met himself with total self-acceptance, and that was the awakening. And everything else grew from that. Flash forward 2,500 years or so. I'm living in Redwood City and I'm hanging out at Gil's Insight Meditation Center. And Ajahn Sundra, who is, she is the abbot of the Cambridge, England monastery, came to teach for like a couple of weeks or something. And the word got out that she was offering interviews, and I'm a groupie for teachers, first to admit it. I will always sign up for an interview with a Dharma teacher. Might be the best 15 minutes I ever spend. And at the time, I was a new therapist, and I was working in a very intense environment. It was a locked psych ward for teenagers, and trying to navigate. And in the middle of another training, I'm working with sexual trauma. And I had a lot of doubts. And I had a lot of fears. And I brought all this to Ajahn Sundra. And she said, look at all of your doubts and all of your fears and just say, I see you, Mara. I see you, Mara. Let's have tea. That the key to awakening is total self-acceptance. Not self in like the Buddhist debate about whether or not there's a self. Okay, that's completely separate issue. What if we were to just, what would your life look like if you could decide right now that you're completely okay? Not in spite of whatever it is you may be struggling with, but with it all. The whole package. Now the story goes that Buddha continued to see Mara throughout the rest of his teaching life. He would be addressing the monks. Mara would be like skulking around behind the crowd or skulking around at the edge of the forest. And the monks would get freaked out. But Buddha did the same thing every time. He just looked right square in the face, square at it, and said, I see you, Mara. Let's have tea. And my takeaway from that is that even though he was awakened, he still struggled with it from now and then. He still was visited by his demons, that demon in particular, the self-doubt demon. Just like the rest of us. And he never looked away, and he never rejected it, and he never rejected parts of himself. He met it with invitation, kindness, compassion. Flash forward some years after I met with Ajahn Sundra, and some of you may know I'm a lighthouse nerd. In fact, I'm planning a trip up to Lake Superior to photograph 12 lighthouses in August. People from the north come down here to Florida in the winter. People from Florida go up there to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan in the summer. And I was out at South Carolina. There's beautiful beaches here. Ain't got nothing on the Carolinas. And I'm standing on this beach alone. It's totally serene. The only person is I can see somebody walking a dog down the beachfront, maybe like a mile away. It's early in the morning. The beach is quiet. It's beautiful. And I hear this angry thing going on in my head. Completely detached from the situation of the moment. I'm guessing you all have had that situation where whatever the mind stream is throwing at you is completely separate from whatever is happening right now. And I remembered, the key to mindfulness is remembering to be mindful. My favorite book on this by Jeannie DePro, she says, and so I remind myself as often as I must, which is very often. I remembered, I see you. And then I did something different. I decided to name that part of my psyche like it was separate. I named it Herbert. It's a Star Trek reference. Yes, I'm one of those guys. I never bought the ears and all that stuff, but I can quote Star Trek. Yes, I'm aware it's just a television show, and I'm aware there are people who don't quite see that. Herbert is angry today. I'm standing in this really serene situation. Herbert is angry today. I don't know what that is, but I can look right at it. Which brings me to the other takeaway from the retreats. This past retreat was on the 7 factors of awakening, and don't ask me to list them because I can't remember all the Buddhist lists. I have a book over there. It's actually a book of lists of Buddhist lists. There are lists of lists, and there are lists of lists inside those lists. And I don't think Buddha taught that way. I think it was an oral tradition and they chanted it. One of the 7 factors is samadhi. If you go to Gil's YouTube channel, he did several weeks on samadhi in his early morning 7 a.m. meditations, 10 o'clock our time. The samadhi, loosely translated, because a lot of Pali doesn't translate all that easily, means concentration. Now, when you say concentration, it scares people because they think, concentration, I have to concentrate. But it's not that, it's different from that. Concentration as in bringing it all together. Consolidating. Letting it all come together. One way to think about that is suppose you're standing on a trampoline in the rain. In which case you probably need more mindfulness practice or probably an intervention. But if you're on a trampoline in the rain, all the water pools in the middle and concentrates. That sort of concentration. Kind of a unification of all of it. And I had this awakening in the retreat last year that as long as I was holding Herbert, that part of me, outside, making it something, holding it outside to make it easier to accept or to not accept it, that's not the path. The path of I see you, the path of awakening is to integrate, accept, and love all of it. So I went to Gil. You do these retreats and you get these 15-minute conversations with the teachers. And I went to Gil because I had told him about Herbert, and he got a chuckle out of that. And I said, I don't think I need Herbert anymore. He said, where is he? I said, he's in here where he needs to be. All of it. I am about to turn 70. I got this far. In my 30s, when I was strung out, some people would not have predicted that I would get this far. I cut my hair yesterday when and I cut this piece. There was no black hair at all. I am, by what some people would standard would say, I'm overweight. I have exactly my father's body. Exactly. You couldn't tell the two of us apart looking from behind. I eat right. I work out 3 or 4 days a week, and I take Tai Chi on the days that I don't work out. I'm taking care of myself. I've been clean and sober since 1991. And yet every now and then I still struggle with pieces of it. My body should be different. I wish I hadn't lost my hair. That's one of the big who cares of all time. You know, my father died in 1991, and he went through multiple rounds of chemotherapy and died with his big head of bushy hair, and I did not inherit that. I still struggle with the parts that are difficult to accept. The body that does not look like the front cover of GQ magazine. The periodic encounters with depression. I was at a blues show Saturday night, this outdoor venue in Tampa. There's I know that smell. A little whiff of weed in the air. And I'm still an addict. I just haven't used in 30-something years. But instantly my mind went to, oh, I want that. That's okay. That's fine. My body is fine. It's showing signs of stress from the things I did to it in my strung out days. All that's fine. I have moments of anger. That's fine. I had a major falling out with a friend of mine last year, and we're not talking, sometimes that plays in my head. And I have discovered the healing moments with that are when I can look right at all of that and say, I see you. That's all I need. In fact, how many people here are parents? Have kids? The first thing you taught your child, very first, was that they can be seen, and that makes them feel safe. That's the very first lesson. The fundamental wound for children is feeling not seen, which means they don't feel safe. Well, here we are, we're all old enough to be mature adults, and some of us even act like that on some days. I'm impulsive, I'm a little weird sometimes. I get annoyed at a little crap. My addiction, my addict self, who I used to reject, but now I've decided that he's actually an important part of me, often gives me bad advice. What if all I really need to do is look at all that and just include it? Samadhi, consolidate, be okay with it. I see you with love and compassion. I know a couple of people here are in the middle of a transition of sorts, changing careers. It's a stressful time. You wonder if you're doing the right thing. You wonder if you're not totally incompetent. You feel like you're faking it, and like they're going to figure that out, and they're moving your chair closer to the door every time you leave the office. What if you could look right at that and say, I see you? We don't need to be different. So, I hope that there was something of value in all of that, but that was my takeaway from the retreat. And I'm already looking at when I'm going to do the next one. So, thank you all for your kind attention. Comments, questions, thoughts? Did I stun you into enlightenment or bore you all into silence? Well, all right then.
One question for you, Ken. I've only been on the half day retreats, so Laura. So these much longer retreats. What would you recommend for a neophyte? Would you recommend starting with like a 3 day retreat,
I started out.
or would you just jump right into like a 2 week
There were a
thing if
couple
you
of
could?
people at the week long. It was their first or second retreat. Um, I started out. Um, Gil was doing day longs, and then he was doing like 3 or 4 day retreats. And then I started doing longer retreats. It felt a little daunting until I started doing it. What happened was I came back from India and I went to see Gil, and I said, I'm thinking of moving to Bhutan and taking on robes because there are monasteries that will ordain you for like a year or two, and I would like to have that experience. And Gil, being ever practical, said, before you sell everything and move to Bhutan, try a 10-day retreat at Spirit Rock. That felt a little scary. Um, but part of my spiritual practice is if it scares you, walk towards it, and if it shames you, reveal it. So I signed up for a retreat that he was doing with Philip Moffat at Spirit Rock. Then I started doing week-long retreats every year, and the only year I didn't do that was during the pandemic. So the long answer is jump right in. I
Yeah.
don't suggest you start. I
I'll
don't.
have to save up for the retreats
I'm sorry.
financially. As I'll have to save up for that financially, but it is on my bucket list. I'd love to
Well,
go on one.
all of Gil's retreats are free. You just have to get yourself to California. And most of them all of the IRC retreats are free. Gil doesn't do all of them, but I'm always trying to get into his retreats. A lot of them get waitlisted. You just have to get there. Um, Spirit Rock is the most expensive. That's why some people call it the upper middle way. Um, Insight Meditation Society is reasonably priced. I was going to sign up, and easier to get into. I was going to sign up for the 2 week retreat up there if I didn't get into this one with Gil. Um, Louisville Vipassana, where I used to live, does like a 5-day retreat every year. They have one coming up in July. Um, I'm sure there's something around the Maryland area, Maryland, Virginia area. Um, there's Southern Dharma in Asheville, North Carolina, and they do like week longs and 2 week longs, and it's reasonably priced. So, um,
Yeah, Asheville's nice.
yeah, I've been to Southern Dharma. It's really nice. There's a group called, email me and I'll send you all this stuff. There's a group called Tri-State Dharma. They're based in Cincinnati and they do retreats around the Indiana area at various locations. They don't have a retreat center, but they do usually like 5 days to a week. Cool teachers, neat locations. So I highly recommend retreats. Start with a half day, do a full day. Residential retreats are really cool once you get over being afraid of it. And the arc, at least for me, is always the same. It's always, this is a crazy ass idea. What am I doing here? Right? I think I could probably put up with this and survive until the end. To, yeah, I wish I had 4 more days. But I'm always ready to come home at the end. I'm contemplating signing up for a 28-day retreat. One of the teachers, Devin Hayes, did 3 years. Was one of the teachers at
Wow.
this retreat I just went to. Um, I just want to sign up to be a monastic for 3 years. So, and the retreats, you get up in the morning, and the first sit is at 6 a.m. That's my favorite sit. It's quiet, it's still dark. Then there's like a work period, and my job was to clean the sinks and the mirrors in the men's bathroom upstairs. Everybody has to work. Then we alternate between sitting and walking and meditation. Um, Somewhere in there, there's a guided meditation that Gil or one of the teachers does. We have lunch. Then there's another work period where people like clean up the kitchen, stuff like that. We all have assignments. Then more sitting and walking and sitting and walking and sitting and walking, and then there's a Dharma talk. Usually about 45 minutes or an hour. And then dinner. And my job after dinner was to clean up the dining hall. And then sit, walk, sit, and go to bed. And get up and do it again. It's very, very simple. I used to wear a watch at retreats. I didn't this time. Because all you have to know is when the bell rings, do the next thing. When the bell rings, stand up. When the bell rings, sit down. When the bell rings, go to the dining hall. Simple life.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just curious how it worked, so I appreciate that, Ken. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I injured my back some weeks ago, so I didn't do a lot of walking meditation. I did a lot of sitting in my room with an ice pack meditation. You take care of yourself. Highly recommend it. And your stuff can come up, and it's a really good opportunity to meet it all with some version of ICU. So anybody can reach out to me. I'll put my email address in the chat. And my website. It's supposed to be all one word, meditationgroup.org, but the autocorrect gods. There it is. Happy to discuss this or anything else. One of the guys in the local Sangha just asked me for a bunch of retreat resources, and I sent him a list. Send me an email and I'll send you the same list.
So what is the name of your web? I can't read the chat. What is the name of your website?
Meditation Group, all one word,
Okay.
.org.
Okay, good. I'm gonna check that out. That's really interesting. I would like to find a meditation retreat here, or at least within an Amtrak distance, I guess.
Yeah, most of them are kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Uh-huh.
It's one of the things I like about them. Um, yeah, I don't know how I managed to pull it off, but meditationgroup.org was available when I registered the domain a few years ago. I was
It's a
like,
good one.
surprise! So, feel free to get in touch with me. And if you Google Insight Retreat Center, you'll find Gil's Retreat Center out in California.
One in Massachusetts?
The one in Massachusetts is the Insight Meditation Society, IMS.
Oh, okay.
And Gil is in California at Insight Retreat Center. Spirit Rock, if you want to surrender your whole income. I started going to retreats at Spirit Rock. I eventually got priced out.
Mhm.
It actually cost me less to fly from Florida to Massachusetts to go to IMS than it does just to register at Spirit Rock. So, it's very Marin County, California. Very wealthy part of the country. Okay. Dan, I noticed that your technology decided to give you a lesson in impermanence. It's all good. Because you disappeared for a minute.
Some battery issues, yep.
Okay. I encourage y'all to say meta for Laura. Her back is out.
Mhm.
Nothing good about that. Sometimes your body just decides to stop you. She also asked me to fill in on July 13th. I'm happy to do that, and we'll see you all then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Good night.